Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Yoga Priya, Faculty Biochemistry. So in this video we are going to discuss about level 1 MCQs. So the first question is a 12 years old boy presented with disfigured face, photosensitivity, staining of teeth and raised coproporphyrin 1 level. Which enzyme is deficient in this condition? The given options are option A uroporphyrinogen synthase, option B uroporphyrinogen 3 synthase, option C uroporphyrinogen decarboxylase and option D coproporphyrinogen oxidase. So the key features are disfigured face, photosensitivity, staining of teeth and raised levels of coproporphyrin 1. So the answer for this question is option B uroporphyrinogen 3 synthase. So this could end up in the condition called as congenital erythropoietic porphyria, where the porphyrin 1 levels are elevated in the circulation. So this picture is nothing but the heme synthesis pathway picture. Here you can see how a porphobilinogen is getting converted to uroporphyrinogen, and the two enzymes favoring this conversion, one is PBG deaminase and the other one is UPG3 co-synthase. So here you can see this porphobilinogen, they get converted to this uroporphyrinogen with the help of these two enzymes by forming an intermediate called as hydroxymethylbilane. So this has two fate, either it can form uroporphyrinogen 3 or else uroporphyrinogen 1. And due to the deficiency of the enzyme uroporphyrinogen 3 synthase, this hydroxymethylbilane they get accumulated and they get converted to coproporphyrinogen 1, which then spontaneously reduced to form coproporphyrin 1, which level is elevated in the circulation as given in the clinical scenario. The other features include excretion of this elevated porphyrin in the urine. They give a urine a specific dark red color, which is called as port wine appearance. And also due to the presence of high level of this porphyrins in the capillaries, they sensitize the skin when they get exposed to sunlight, resulting in photosensitization. Also, reactive oxygen species damages occur at the cellular level, resulting in acute level of dermatitis and also scarring, giving a severe disfigurement appearance, which is referred to as monkey face appearance. Also, repeated ulceration and scarring may cause mutilation of nose, ear and cartilage. And one more peculiar feature is called as erythrodontia, where an ultraviolet light is reflected onto the teeth, which gives a red fluorescence in the teeth. So in this picture you can see the port wine staining of urine, and this is a normal picture of the congenital erythropoietic porphyria patient. When an ultraviolet light is reflected, here you can see the red fluorescence in the teeth, which is called as erythrodontia. The other options include option A uroporphyrinogen synthase. Its deficiency result in acute intermittent porphyria. So in this condition there is no color for the urine. The urine is colorless here, and one more thing is there is no photosensitivity. So with these two features we can exclude option A. And option B is uroporphyrinogen decarboxylase, which would result in porphyria cutanea tarda. Here the uroporphyrinogen get accumulates, but in the given scenario coproporphyrinogen accumulates. So option C is ruled out. And in option D, coproporphyrinogen oxidase is deficient. It might result in hereditary coproporphyria, but here in this condition there is no other features like port wine stain urine or else erythrodontia. So option A, C, D are ruled out. The correct answer is option B. So the next question is, a 55-year-old man complains of fatigue, abdominal pain. On examination, there was enlargement of liver. So his LFT is deranged. The medical unit arrives at a conclusion of toxicity of ethanol. What this could be due to? So the given options are decreased lactate or pyruvate ratio, and option B is increased NADH or NAD plus ratio, and option C is stimulation of gluconeogenesis, option D is stimulation of fatty acid oxidation. So the key features here are the age 55 years, and he is having abdominal pain and enlargement of liver, LFT deranged, and final one is toxicity of ethanol. So he could be a known case of alcoholic. So the correct answer is option B, that is increase NADH or NAD plus ratio. So this is a case of alcohol induced fatty liver, and there are two important steps in alcohol metabolism. One is the conversion of ethanol to acetaldehyde, and the next is from acetaldehyde to acetone. In both of the steps, which is catalyzed by alcohol dehydrogenase and aldehyde dehydrogenase, you can see NADH is formed. So due to this, excess of NADH is being formed, resulting in high NADH and NAD plus ratio. So this would result in lot of metabolic adaptation, which includes lactic acidosis, hypoglycemia, ketogenesis, fatty liver and steatosis, mitochondrial damage and apoptosis, and finally CNS depression. So normally in cytoplasm in alcoholic, high level of NADH would result in conversion of this pyruvate to lactate, resulting in lactic acidosis. Due to decreased availability or deficiency of this pyruvate, this leads to inadequate formation of oxaloacetate, which is very much mandatory for the gluconeogenesis to happen. So because of this, there will be inhibition of gluconeogenesis, finally hypoglycemia. So all the above mentioned condition, this might cause a suppression of TCA cycle, leading to accumulation of acetyl CoA, which takes two fate. One, it can enter ketogenesis, or else it can enter fatty acid synthesis, and this excess fatty acid formation, they get accumulated in the liver, deposited in the liver, resulting in fatty liver and steatosis. So anyhow, fatty acid oxidation is not going to take place in alcohol induced liver diseases. And the next feature is alcohol can induce free radical damage, causing mitochondrial damage and apoptosis. And due to lactic acidosis, there will be decreased excretion of uric acid. This might result in acute attack of gout, and it can cause a CNS depression by stimulating the inhibitory neurotransmitter receptors. And the final one is in pregnancy, alcohol consumption might result in fetal alcohol syndrome. So the other options, option A, that is decreased lactate pyruvate ratio, which is not happening, and option C, stimulation of gluconeogenesis, there will be inhibition of gluconeogenesis, and option D, stimulation of fatty acid oxidation, only fatty acid synthesis will happen and there is no fatty acid oxidation. So option B is the correct answer, and all the remaining three options are ruled out. And the next question, a 32 years old woman comes to the OPD with complaints of tingling and numbness in both upper and the lower limbs. On examinations, she was found to have circumcorneal congestion of both eyes, and red fissure tongue is seen. Which of the following vitamin is deficient? So the options are vitamin B12, vitamin B2, vitamin B1, and vitamin B6. So here the important features you can concentrate is one is circumcorneal congestion and also red fissure tongue. So the correct answer is option A, vitamin B2, that is riboflavin deficiency. The important thing to note in riboflavin deficiency is their features are always confined to skin and mucous membrane, which includes glossitis, cheilosis, and also the other circumcorneal congestion and proliferation of bulbar conjunctival capillaries. All these are confined to the eyes. Other than that, glossitis, cheilosis, magenta color tongue, and angular stomatitis is normally seen in riboflavin deficiency. And their levels in the body can be easily assessed with the help of glutathione reductase activity, that is normally seen in a freshly lysed RBCs. So the other options include option B, that is B12, which normally has features like megaloblastic anemia, demyelination, subacute combined degeneration, and option C is thiamine deficiency. We all know that this commonly results in beriberi. And option D is pyridoxine deficiency. This would result in peripheral neuritis, pellagra, and microcytic hypochromic anemia. So the correct answer for this question is option A. And the fourth question is, a 55 years old man, a known case of coronary artery disease, came with complaints of recurrent episodes of neuropathy. On examination, the below picture was observed. So what is your probable diagnosis? The options are hypo-alpha lipoproteinemia, Tanger's disease, familial alpha lipoprotein deficiency, and hyper-alpha lipoproteinemia. So the correct answer for this question is Tanger's disease, that is option B. So it is mainly due to defect in the ABCA1, which is nothing but a ATP binding cassette protein, which is normally involved in transferring the cellular cholesterol to the HDL. So due to the deficiency of this protein, what will happen? There won't be transferring of this cholesterol to the HDL. So the plasma level of HDL will be low due to the decreased formation, and due to low level of HDL, the alpha band will be completely absent in electrophoresis, because alpha band is specific for HDL, which is not seen in electrophoresis. So what happened? The excess cholesterol will be getting accumulated in the body, and they get esterified to form cholesterol esters and they get deposited in the nearby tissues. So this would result in clinical features like large orange yellow tonsil, muscular atrophy, and recurrent peripheral neuropathies and atherosclerosis. So all these 4 features are a hallmark for Tange's disease. So this picture you can see how the tonsils are enlarged and you can see the cholesterol deposition in the tonsil, which is specific only for Tange's disease. So the other option is hypo-alpha lipoproteinemia. Here the HDL level is decreased, but the other features that is mentioned in Tange's are not seen. And in option C, here you can see the normal level of cholesterol and TAG, whereas in Tange's the cholesterol level will be high so that it get deposited in the nearby tissues. And option D is hyper alpha lipoproteinemia. Here there will be increased level of HDL, thus option A, C and D are ruled out. And the fifth question is assertion and reasoning pattern. So the assertion, that is A, which is given is in transmethylation process, conversion of homocysteine to methionine, it always requires folate and vitamin B12 as cofactor. And the reasoning given R for that is enzyme for this remethylation process is homocysteine methyl transferase, which requires methyl group from the methyl cobalamin, which in turn acquires this methyl group from the methyl THFA. So the different options are given where A and R both are right and R, that is explanation given, is not correct for A, and option B is A is wrong but R is the right statement, and option C is A and R both are correct and R is the good explanation for A, and the option D is A and R both are wrong. So the correct answer for this one is option C, where A and R both are correct and R is the very good and correct explanation for A. So this picture is about the methionine metabolism. Here you can see how methionine is getting converted to S-adenosyl methionine, and finally they form S-adenosyl homocysteine and they get converted to homocysteine. This homocysteine formed has two fate. One, it can get converted to cysteine or else it can get converted to methionine. So this is the step that has been mentioned in the assertion and reasoning pattern. Here you can see homocysteine is getting converted to methionine with the help of the enzyme homocysteine methyl transferase. So that was correctly given in the question, and this always requires vitamin B12 as a cofactor, which is also correct. And here you can see one methyl group which has been donated from the 1 carbon pool, and this methyl group is formed from the methyl THFA. So that is also correct. So the option C, that is assertion and reasoning both are correct and R is the correct explanation for A. Thus it rules out option A, B and D. Thank you.